I shot my father in the knee with his own hunting rifle on Thanksgiving morning, right there in the kitchen where Mom used to bake pumpkin pies. He screamed like a banshee, blood pooling on the linoleum that still smelled faintly of cinnamon and regret. But I didn't flinch, because he'd stolen 20 years of my life, framing Gramps for a murder that wasn't his. And as the cops hauled me away in cuffs that bit into my wrists like the lies he'd fed our family for decades, I leaned close and whispered, "Gramps sends his regards," knowing the old man's ghost had finally won. "My name's Valerie. And if you think revenge is a dish best served cold, try swallowing it frozen solid after it's been rotting in the back of your soul for 2 decades. I'm 42 now, living in a one-bedroom walk-up in Chicago's South Side, the kind of place where the L train rattles your coffee mug at dawn and the neighbors mind their own damn business because they've got skeletons rattling in their closets too. But back then, I was just a kid in Elmwood, Illinois, a sleepy suburb off I-80 where cornfields stretched like God's forgotten promises and everyone pretended their lives were as apple pie perfect as the 4th of July parades. Gramps, real name Harlan Whitaker, missed every holiday. Christmas? He'd send a postcard from the road, some vague trucker tale about a breakdown in Nebraska. Easter? A phone call at midnight, voice gravelly from too many Marlboros, promising he'd make it up next year. Thanksgiving? The big one, when the whole Whitaker clan crammed into Mom's double-wide for turkey and awkward small talk, he'd vanish like smoke, leaving behind a store-bought pie and an excuse about overtime at the mill. We chalked it up to his wanderlust, that old-school American dream of the open highway. Dad, my biological father, Richard Rick Whitaker, would clap him on the back at the rare family barbecue and say, "Harlan's chasing the wind, folks." That's just how he is. But I always wondered why Gramps' eyes would dart away, like he was hiding a storm cloud behind that tobacco-stained grin. Mom died when I was 8, cancer. The quiet killer that doesn't make headlines but guts families like a rusty knife. Ovarian, they said. Caught too late because she was too busy holding down 3 jobs to notice the pain. Dad spiraled after that. The mill laid him off. Beer became his full-time gig, and I became the invisible kid dodging his belt when the checks bounced. Gramps stepped in where he could, slipping me 20s for school lunch, teaching me how to hotwire a Chevy just in case, but he was a ghost at the holidays, always out on a run. It stung, but kids adapt. I adapted by getting straight A's, winning the science fair with a volcano that erupted red food coloring like arterial spray, and dreaming of escaping to Northwestern on a full ride. Then came the summer of '03, the one that cracked our world open like a cheap eggshell. I was 16, home from my shift at the Dairy Queen, scooping cones for minimum wage while Dad nursed a bud in the recliner, yelling at the Cubs on TV. The cops showed up at dusk, lights flashing blue and red against the siding of our trailer like some half-assed disco. They hauled Gramps out in cuffs, his flannel shirt rumpled, face set like concrete. "Armed robbery and murder," the lead detective barked, reading from a notepad. "Gas station clerk on Route 34. Shot in the chest at point blank. Your grandpa's prints on the .38. Harlan." We got witnesses placing his truck nearby. I remember the air thickening, like humidity before a tornado. Dad went white as Wonder Bread, muttering, "Jesus. Harlan. What the hell?" But Gramps just looked at me through the squad car window, his blue eyes, same as mine, holding steady. "Keep your head down, Val," he said, voice low enough that only I caught it. "This ain't what it seems." They shipped him off to Menard Correctional, downstate, where the walls were gray as regret and the visitors' rooms smelled like despair and instant coffee. He pled guilty to it all: robbery, second-degree murder, took a 20 to life without a peep. No trial, no appeals.
Just gone.
That night, Dad cracked open the good whiskey, the stuff he saved for emergencies, and got maudlin. Your Gramps was always a wild card, kiddo. Chasing skirts, dodging bills. This is on him. I nodded, numb.
But something gnawed at me.
Gramps wasn't the type. He'd served 2 tours in Nam, came home with a Purple Heart and a limp, but he never raised a hand to anyone except in stories about Charlie. And that .38, I'd seen his service pistol once, a Colt .45, locked in a safe. Not some snub-nosed Saturday night special. The family fractured after that. Aunt Linda, Dad's sister, flew in from Phoenix. All highlights and judgment, whispering about the Whitaker curse. Cousins stopped calling. Holidays became Dad and Valerie affairs, microwave turkey, Hallmark movies on mute, and me pretending the empty chair at the table wasn't screaming. Dad got a pity job at the auto parts store, then parlayed it into managing the place, his charm turning on like a switch. By my senior year, he was dating Cheryl from accounting, a bottle blonde with a laugh like wind chimes. They married quick, Vegas. No fuss, and suddenly we had stepsibs, a boy and girl from her first marriage, all shiny and suburban.
I was the outlier.
The millstone with the jailbird grandpa. College happened in fits and starts. Community college first, then a transfer to U of I in Champaign. Studying criminal justice, because why the hell not? Irony.
Right?
I minored in psych. Devoured books on false confessions and family dynamics, telling myself it was academic curiosity. But late nights in the dorm, I'd stare at the ceiling fan whirring like Gramps' old truck engine and wonder, why'd he take the fall? Letters from Menard were sparse, crayon-scrawled updates on the yard fights. Recipes for prison hooch, but one came different. Postmarked from outside. No return address. Inside, a single Polaroid of Dad and some guy I didn't recognize. Arms slung around each other at a dive bar. Grins wide as the Mississippi.
On the back.
In Gramps' chicken scratch. Truth's a bitch.
Val.
Dig if you dare. I burned it that night. Scared shitless. But the seed was planted. Over the next 4 years, I dug in stolen moments, public records at the county clerk's, microfiche at the library, even a road trip to that godforsaken gas station. Now a Dollar General with fluorescent buzz. The clerk's name was Tommy Ruiz. 22. Shot over $40 in the register. Witnesses, a trucker named Earl and a waitress, Marlene, who fingered Gramps' blue Ford from the lot. But inconsistencies piled up like snowdrifts. Gramps' truck was in the shop that week, alternator fried, invoice stamped. The .38? Ballistics tied it to a string of holdups along I-80, but Gramps' prints? Sloppy lift. Maybe planted. And Tommy Ruiz? Autopsy said the shot came from a lefty. Gramps was right-handed as they come. Graduation came and went, me in a rented cap and gown. Dad snapping pics with Cheryl. Toasting my fresh start. I moved to Chicago. Landed a gig as a paralegal at a firm specializing in appeals. Days blurred into depositions and coffee runs. Nights into dive bars where the whiskey burned less than the questions. I wrote to Gramps. Probing gentle. Remember that summer in '89? When you taught me to fish at Starved Rock? What was Dad like back then? His replies dodged. But one slipped. Rick was always the smart one. Too smart. Sometimes. Protected his own. You know. Protected. The word stuck like burrs. By 25, I was dating a public defender named Marcus, tall, black, with a smile that cut through my armor like sunlight on fog. He saw the shadows in me, pushed me to visit Menard. Closure.
Val.
It's not optional. So I went. The drive downstate was a blur of flatlands and fast food. The prison a concrete beast squatting under overcast skies. Gramps looked smaller behind the glass, cheeks hollowed, but his grip on the phone was iron. You look like your grandma, girl. Feisty. We talked weather, then family.
Dad is good. I lied.
Managing the store. Coaching Little League now. Gramps snorted. Little League. That boy's coaching all right. His eyes flicked to the guard. Then back.
Val.
There's a box. In the garage rafters at the old place. Keys under the loose floorboard by the dryer. Don't tell Rick. He hung up before I could press. But the hook was set. Back in Chicago. I stewed. Marcus said, "Go get it. Whatever it is. But fear's a hell of a drug." Instead, I ghosted him, buried myself in work, let holidays slide into Netflix binges. Dad called less. His life a highlight reel of Cheryl's promotions and the kids' soccer trophies. Gramps' birthday card stopped, health failing. They said.
Then.
Last Christmas, him gone. Heart attack in his cell. Alone. No service. Per his wishes. Just ashes shipped COD to the trailer, which Dad had sold after Cheryl got a realtor bump to Peoria. That's when I broke. Drove to Elmwood unannounced. Key to the old place still on my ring like a guilty talisman. The new owners were some young couple from St. Louis. All Patagonia vests and kombucha. Whitaker. Yeah. We bought it furnished. You family? I nodded. Spun a yarn about settling an estate. They let me poke around the garage while they grilled brats. The floorboard creaked up easy, key glinting like fool's gold. The rafters held dust and mouse shit. But there, tucked behind insulation, a dented metal box. Padlocked shut. I bolted to my car, heart hammering like a jackrabbit. Back in my apartment, bolt cutters made short work. Inside, letters, yellowed and bundled with twine. Photos Dad and Gramps in fatigues. Nom era. Young and unbreakable. Then, the meat. A confession.
Aaron.
Dated July 03. Gramps' script. But the words. I can't let him go down for this. Tommy Ruiz saw too much. Rick's side hustle. The shipments from Gary. Drugs.
Val.
Your dad was running meth for the Kings up in Joliet. Tommy walked in on a drop. Threatened to snitch. Rick panicked. Pulled the trigger. I was there, hauling for him. Blind till then. Swapped the gun. Took the heat. Family first. Always. My world inverted. Dad, not some victim of circumstance, but a cold-blooded dealer who'd offed a kid to protect his empire. Gramps. The fall guy. Rotting for a brother's sin. The letters chronicled it. Dad's descent post-mom. Dipping into the mill's scrap for cash. Then escalating to mules and meats. Gramps. Loyal fool. Covering tracks till the night it blew. He'd missed every holiday not chasing wind, but chasing redemption, visiting fences, burning evidence, wiring me tuition from blood money skimmed clean. Rage bloomed slow, then volcanic. I confronted Dad over burner phone, voice steady as a surgeon's scalpel. Tommy Ruiz. Say his name. Silence. Then a chuckle, oily, familiar. Valerie. Sweetheart. You been reading fairy tales? Harlan was a drunk. Confessed to save face. Lies slithered out. But I had copies now. Notarized by a buddy at the firm. Meet me, I said. Elmwood. The old gas station. Midnight. Christmas Eve. He showed, fancy coat over his paunch. Breath, mints, masking scotch. Snow dusted the pumps like powdered sugar on shit pie. This about Harlan's bullshit box?
Kiddo. He was senile.
Protected me? Please. I protected us. He spun it smooth. Gramps the junkie, Dad the savior who cleaned up the mess to keep the family afloat. You think I'd kill a man? Over what? $40. Tommy was collateral in a bad deal.
King's beef.
I took the fall quiet, so you could have a life. Gaslight. Pure and choking. But I saw the flicker, the mountebanks tell. Eyes darting to the tree where his insurance might lurk. You let him die alone, I whispered. For your lies. He stepped close. Hand on my shoulder.
Paternal poison.
And you'd throw it all away? For a ghost? Think of Cheryl. The kids. We're Whitakers. We stick. I stuck him then, not with lead, but truth. Flash the letters. The ballistics report I'd pulled favors for. Cops have it now. Anonymous tip. Bluff. But it landed. His face cracked, mask slipping to reveal the serpent beneath. You ungrateful bitch. I built this for you. He lunged. Not for the evidence. But me, fingers clawing like talons. I sidestepped. Years of self-defense classes kicking in, and he sprawled in the slush.
Cursing.
That's when the real play unfolded. Sirens wailed distant, my tip. Real after all. To the state boys.
But Dad?
He laughed. Wet and broken. Pulling a snub nose from his coat. Same caliber as Tommy's end. You think you're the Avenger? Harlan tried that blackmail.
Leaks.
I flipped it on him. Planted the prints. Coached the witnesses. Family?
Val.
It's eat or be eaten. The standoff stretched eternal, snow swirling. Gun trembling in his grip. I had my piece too. Dad's old Remington from the safe he'd bragged about. Put it down.
Rick.
And this right.
He didn't.
Fired wild. Clipping the sign above my head. Sparks flying like bad fireworks. I returned fire, knee shot.
Clean.
Dropping him howling. Cops swarmed. Tasers and shouts. Cuffing us both in the melee. Him for the gun. The warrants I'd unearthed. Me for the discharge. But self-defense sticks when you've got the paper trail. Court was a circus. Headlines screaming, family feud turns fatal. Whitaker legacy of lies. Aunt Linda testified for Dad. Painting Gramps the villain. Meath the hysteric. Cheryl filed for divorce mid-trial. Dragging the kids into therapy soundbites. But the evidence? Ironclad. Dad flipped like a politician in a scandal, ratting on the Kings for a deal. 25 minimum.
Me?
Manslaughter charge dropped to probation. Community service mopping floors at a women's shelter.
Poetic. Huh?
Now? Chicago's the same grind, but lighter. I visit Grampa'S stone monthly, simple slab in Elmwood Cemetery. Wildflowers in summer. Marcus came back.
Tentative.
We coffee dated till it stuck. Holidays? I host now, potluck with strays from the firm. Toasts to absent ghosts. But the twist, the one that keeps me up. Debating my own damn self? That last letter. Tucked in the box's false bottom. Not Gramps' hand.
Dad's.
Harlan knew about the affair. Your mom and me? It was over before cancer. He pushed me to the edge, whispering poisons. Tommy? We both pulled triggers that night. Brothers in blood. Who betrayed who? Gramps. Covering for a killer.
Or Dad.
Avenging a lie?
Or me.
Pulling that trigger. Sentencing a father to wheels and bars? Folks argue it at bars now, hero or monster. I don't know. But on Thanksgiving, as I carve the bird alone sometimes, I hear Gramps, family first, and wonder if revenge isn't the chain we all drag. The fallout hit like a Midwest blizzard, sudden, blinding, and liable to bury you if you didn't shovel your way out. Probation meant check-ins with a counselor named Dr. Ellis, a no-nonsense black woman in her 50s with a voice like aged bourbon and eyes that peeled back your bullshit like onion skins. Valerie Whitaker, she'd say, flipping her legal pad. You didn't just shoot your father that night. You executed a myth. Now what? I'd shrug, stare at the ficus wilting in her window, and mumble about justice. But truth? I was adrift. The high of vengeance crashing into the trough of what the hell now. Dad's trial dominated the local news for months. WGN running segments with grainy mugshots and talking heads debating the Whitaker curse. They painted him as the everyman gone wrong, laid-off dad turned dealer, cornered by poverty's vice. America's opioid underbelly, one pundit droned, ignoring how he'd laundered through Cheryl's real estate flips, stacking cash till our trailer felt like a slum next to their McMansion. The Kings? He rolled on them hard, names, routes, stash houses from Gary to Rockford. Feds loved it. He got a medium security join-up in Dixon, leg brace and all. Letters came filtered through his lawyer. Val, I did it for us. Mom's medicals bankrupted me. Gramps pushed the product, said it'd be quick cash. Gaslighting from a cell. Classic Rick. I ignored them. Focused on rebuilding. The firm kept me on pro bono cred. They joked, but whispers followed. That Whitaker girl? Shot her own pa. Marcus stuck around. Patient as a saint, cooking gumbo on Sundays and listening to my rants without judgment. Babe, he'd say, stirring rue till it darkened, like my moods. Revenge is a circle. You broke it. Celebrate that. We moved in together last spring. A third-floor walk-up in Bronzeville with creaky hardwood and a view of the projects turning condos. Progress. American style. But the box? It haunted. I'd pore over it nights when sleep dodged me, letters unfolding like a bad hand of poker. One batch from Nom, Gramps and Dad, Foxhole Brothers. Dad's saving Harlan from a tripwire. Gramps pulling Rick from a rice paddy sucking mud. Blood thicker than water, Dad scrawled in one. Faded ink bleeding like tears. Then Mom's diary. Slipped in somehow, her words a knife twist. Rick's changing. Harlan warns me, but he's family. For Val, I'll hold. An affair? Gramps' note implied Dad strayed first. Mom retaliating with the mill foreman. Petty wars in a small town. Escalating to ruin. Aunt Linda called once. Voice syrupy over static. Valerie. Honey. This family's toxic. Rick's paying. Harlan's dust. Let it die. She sent a check, $5,000, for therapy, which I cashed and donated to a victims fund for Ruiz's family. Tommy's mom, Rosa, lived in a bungalow off Halstead, rosary beads clicking as she brewed café con leche. I showed up uninvited, box excerpts in hand.
Señora Ruiz.
Your son. He didn't die for $40. She crossed herself, eyes wet prisms. Mijo was good. Wanted to be teacher. Why now? Because closure's a chain reaction, I said. We talked hours, her loss a mirror to mine. She forgave nothing, but hugged like a lifeline. Spring thawed into summer, and the dream started. Gramps and Menard, pacing a cell that shrank like a coffin, whispering, dig deeper. Val. I'd wake sweating. Marcus's arm heavy across me, and hit the records again. Public Defender's Office. Favors called in, Tommy's case file. Unsealed post-ads flip. Witness statements, Earl the trucker. Dead of liver failure 09. Marlene. The waitress. Now a nurse in Springfield. I drove down. Found her at Memorial. Scrub starched. Face lined like a road map. Harlan Whitaker? Yeah. I ID'd him. Cops showed pics. Said he matched. Pressure? They leaned. Rick Whitaker was a regular, tipped big. Chatted up Tommy about jobs. Night of. I saw Rick's truck. Not Harlan's. But Bill's gotta get paid. Another thread pulled. The .38's chain of custody, logged by Detective Hale. Retired now to a golf course in Florida. Phone call. Voice creaky. Kid. That case was airtight. Prints don't lie. But they do. If gloves come off wrong. Hale coughed. Admitted. Whitaker Sr., Rick, bought me a beer post-arrest. Said Harlan confessed clean. Family man. You know? Corruption. Small-town flavor. I filed FOIAs. Built a dossier thicker than War and Peace. Not for exoneration, Gramps was dust, but for the why. Why take the bullet? Marcus found the next piece. Digging probate on a whim. Gramps's will, simple. To me, all to Valerie. Burn the rest. But attached? A codicil. Witnessed by a chaplain. If Rick's secret surface. Know this, I pulled the trigger too. Tommy saw the drop. Pulled on us. Scuffle. Rick froze. I fired to end it. Mercy. Or murder. God judges. My stomach dropped. Gramps. The protector. Turned executioner? 4 dads freeze. Or his own code. The box lied by omission. Brothers in blood. Indeed. Rage reignited. But twisted, against ghosts now. I confronted Dad's lawyer. A slick weasel named Hargrove in a loop tie. Tell your client. Full truth. Or I leak the codicil. Kings hate loose ends. Bluff again. But it worked. Visiting hours at Dixon. Dad wheeled in. Pants leg pinned. Eyes hollowed like sockets.
Val.
You look good. Venom first. Stirring shit for what? Legacy. Then crack. The night unspools. Meth run gone sour. Tommy interrupting. Gun drawn in fear.
Dad.
Trigger-fingered, but paralyzed by Mom's ghost. Her pleas against the life. Gramps. Intervening. Shot to wound. But panic pulled fatal. He confessed to cover me?
Nah.
To cover us. Said if one falls. We all do. But the lurch. Gramps knew the affair. Confronted Dad years prior. Pushed him to the edge. Dad spat. Harlan banged Mom first, 89. Starve Rock. I walked in. She swore at once. He denied. Cancer came. I forgave for you. Lies layered like lasagna.
Who started the rot?
Mom's diary contradicted. Dad's foreman fling first. Her revenge a slip. Gramps? Silent enabler. Hauling to fund Mom's chemo. Then the habit. I left shaking. Warden's buzzer mocking. Outside. Rain lashed the chain link, blurring Illinois flatness. Marcus picked me up. Silent drive back.
Babe.
It's a knot. Cut it. But knots are family. I cut by writing, anonymous blog. Whitaker ghosts, spilling sanitized truths. Comments flooded. Hero, daughter. All addicts. Lock 'em up. Polarized. Like America itself, red versus blue. Victim versus villain. Fall holidays loomed. Thanksgiving a specter. Cheryl called, divorce finalized. Kids asking Aunt Val. I flew to Peoria. Neutral ground. Stepniece Lily. 10 and freckled. Hugged fierce. Daddy's sorry. Dinner was strained, turkey dry. Wine flowing. Rick's changing, Cheryl said. Eyes averted. Counseling. I nodded. But inside? Storm. That night, Lily slipped me a drawing family tree. Dad in chains. Gramps haloed. Kids see clear. Back in Chicago. The high court appeal dropped. Dad's deal upheld. But Ruiz families sued civil. Wrongful death. Aiming at estate scraps. Rosa testified. Voice steel. For me, Joe. I backed her. Deposition crisp. Dad's response? A smuggled note via Hargrove. And this?
Val.
Or the codicil goes public. Your Gramps a killer? Papers'll eat you alive. Threat from bars. I countered. Full confession. Taped. To feds. He balked. Then bent. Visitation again. Voice breaking. Harlan and me. We were poison. Mom saw it. Tried saving us. I killed the dream first. Tears? Real. Maybe. Or actor's craft. I walked. Filed the tape. Feds reclassified. Conspiracy. Life without. Winter gripped. Snow piling like unpaid debts. Marcus proposed New Year's. Fireworks over the lake. Rings simple gold. Build new ghosts. Val. I said yes. But doubts gnawed. The box. Now ash in a coffee can on my shelf. Reminder or relic. Aunt Linda disowned via email. Blood's curse. Rosa invited for pozole. Her home altar flickering. Forgive?
No.
Forget? See. Then the twist shadow. Anonymous package. No postmark. Inside, photo negative. Gramps and Mom. 89. Starved rock. Embrace too close. Back. Truth hurts. Our dad's play. Final gasp. I confronted via proxy, Hargrove. Sweating. Client denies.
But.
He kept negatives. Leverage. Leverage against what? Gramps' silence. Perhaps, knowing Dad's foreman fling. Using it to bind him to the business. Debate raged internal. Was Gramps the mountebank? Seducing Mom to control Dad? Or Dad? Planting the negative post-arrest to muddy. Blog exploded. Incest twist. Trolls swarmed. Doxing attempts. Marcus pulled me offline. Enough. But enough's a myth. Thanksgiving 25 dawned gray. I hosted Rosa. Marcus. Shelter strays. Turkey brined. Stories swapped. No empty chair. Gramps' spirit in the laughter. But as pie cut, my phone buzzed. Dad's appeal denied. Final. I toasted silent. To secrets. Relief? Or another chain? The New Year slunk in like a hungover uncle, promising change, but delivering headaches. Marcus and I set a date for June. Courthouse simple. Reception at a Bronzeville soul food spot with collards and cornbread towers. No drama, he insisted, kissing my temple. Just us. I nodded. But drama's DNA? Whitaker style. The blog went dark. But echoes lingered, podcasts dissecting the Harlan tapes, Reddit threads splitting hairs on culpability. Gramps the martyr or mobster? One poll asked. Results? Dead even. Like the country at a crossroads. Dad's incarceration hardened him. Visits ceased. Notes turned venomous. You think you're free? That codicil's my ace. One word. And you're the daughter of killers. Psychological warfare. Penned on Dixon stationery. I blocked via warden. But sleep fractured. Nightmares of starved rock. Mom's laugh echoing as bullets flew. Therapy with Dr. Ellis ramped up. Valerie. Revenge's echo is guilt. Who'd you betray? Myself. I admitted. The girl who believed in holidays. In family as fortress. Rosa became anchor. Weekly walks in Jackson Park. Lake Michigan churning like unresolved grief. Mejodes say forgive the living, she'd murmur. Beads clicking. But living's messy. Cheryl reached out. Tentative. Kids miss you. I met them at a park. Nephew Jake. 8 and gap-toothed. Tossing a frisbee. Aunt Val. Wide Grandpa's shoot Uncle Rick. Lies layered young. Bad choices, I said. We all make 'em. Lily drew more, now me with a gun. Halo 2. Art therapy. Kid version. Spring bloomed tentative. Cherry blossoms dusting sidewalks like confetti from a stalled parade. The firm promoted me, junior associate. White collar appeals. First case, a fall guy in a Ponzi. Echoes of Gramps. I won reduction. Client hugging tearful. You get it. Validation. Bittersweet. Marcus planned honeymoon New Orleans. Jazz and beignet. Escape velocity. But velocity's illusion. Gravity pulls. The bomb dropped May. Hargrove's call. Voice greased. Rick's suicide watch. Overdose attempt. Pills from the infirmary. Ranting about the negative, says you'll pay. Heart stuttered. Visit? Hell yes. Dixon's sterile halls reeked of bleach and broken dreams. Dad shackled to bed. Gaunt as a specter. Eyes fever bright.
Val.
Come to gloat.
Weak.
But the mountebank flickered. Charm offensive. I kept the secret for you. That photo?
Fake.
Doctored post-arrest. To break Harlan. He confessed wild, affair. Everything, to drag me down. Peeling onion again. Why try now? I pressed. He coughed. Phlegm rattling. Cancer. Like your mom. Stage 4. Docs give months. Punch to gut.
You.
New. Nod.
Sly.
Irony.
Huh.
Rot from inside. Then the flood. Full confession. Unprompted. Nom broke them, Dad the hothead. Gramps the fixer. Home. Dad strayed with the foreman's wife. Mom countered with Harlan. A one-time lapse born of loneliness. Gramps covered. Hauled to fund silence. Then the mill's graft escalated to meth when Mom's bills hit. Tommy walked into a drop. Dad froze. Gramps fired. Mercy kill on a kid pleading. He took blame to atone, Dad whispered. For Mom. Said it even the scales. Twist knifed deep. Grampa'S codicil? Partial truth. He'd pulled trigger, but loaded the gun, knowing the run, enabling the life. Brothers entwined. Serpents eating tails. And the negative? I demanded. Dad's laugh. Wet. Planted it myself. After Menard. To keep you quiet. Leverage on leverage. Mountebank to end. Lifetime of flips. Every betrayal a feint. I left numb. Rain-sheeting parking lot. Marcus waited. Wipers slashing. Babe. He's dying, I choked. And none of it's clean. Drive home blurred. We made love fierce that night. Reclaiming skin from ghosts. Wedding loomed. Vows exchanged under oak in Cook County. Rosa matron. Strays as witnesses. I do, Marcus said. Ring sliding cool. Mine, forever. But forever's fragile. Dad died July 4th, fireworks cracking over Dixon like ironic salute. Cuz. Complications, bit vague. Cheryl handled arrangements. Closed casket. Sparse crowd. I went alone. Elmwood graveside. Stars and stripes limp in heat. Eulogy? Mine. Unscripted. Richard Whittaker, husband, father, liar. Saved by blood. Damned by it. Rest uneasy. Aunt Linda glared. Cousins shifted. Rosa squeezed my hand. For me, Joe. Honeymoon healed some. Bourbon Street brass. Gumbo thick as forgiveness. But back. The echo. Box ashes scattered in Lake Michigan. Wind whipping like Grampa'S laugh. Blog reactivated. Final post. No heroes. Just humans. Hauling chains. Debate if you must. I'm cutting loose.
Now.
December again, Thanksgiving past. Christmas lights twinkling premature. Marcus and I host. Rosa's tamales. A shelter crew. Even Lily and Jake via FaceTime. Cheryl thawed. Table full. Chairs no empties. I carve turkey. Blade steady. Toasting. To actions unspoken. Gramps missed every holiday. But his revealed the rot. Force the light. Twist lingers. Debate fodder. Was Dad's death karma? Or my silence complicity? Grampa'S shot mercy. Or malice. Mom's affair spark. Or symptom. America argues. Podcasts pivot. Whittaker. Villainy or victimhood? I don't join. I've chosen sides, mine. Revenge? Not cold. Not hot.
Just done.
And in the quiet after grace, as laughter rises, I feel Gramps. Good work. Val. Secrets buried.
But scars? They shine.